What's up, guys? NYKF31 here. NBA 2K13. Figured it's All-Star Weekend. Fire up a game of NBA 2K13 or upload a game of NBA 2K13. This is a really old game. You can tell that, first of all, by, Rondo being on the roster. But, this is really the last game that I've played. And this was played around Christmas time. I haven't played this game in almost 2 full months. But as I was watching NBA All-Star Weekend, I felt inspired to do a little bit of an NBA rant. I'm a guy who actually used to be a very big NBA fan. I used to love the NBA. Back when I was, primarily in college. I used to watch the NBA all the time. I was a guy who never missed NBA opening night. I watched, maybe 2 or 3 games a week at least between, TNT, TBS, and whatever games were on the weekend on either ABC or NBC or whatever. Never missed NBA All-Star Weekend. Watched every playoff game. But I just don't like the league that much anymore. It's for a couple of reasons. I was actually having a conversation with some friends during that awful NBA All-Star Saturday night and that horrible dunk contest about the league and, what it is now and how it's changed and all that good stuff. But, as far as, the way I view the NBA now, I'm dang near a casual fan of the game now. I maybe watch a couple of games once every couple of weeks and then pretty much tune out and ignore the league until, the playoff times. I still enjoy the NBA playoffs. The NBA playoffs is as good as basketball gets, but nowadays I just don't really care about the league on a day-to-day basis anymore. I don't really follow it that much regularly, except for, obvious storylines and whatnot, or teams that are obviously doing well, or, players that are really, tearing things up. But as far as knowing the ins and outs of the league and the comings and goings of the league on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, I have no clue. And it's primarily because, one, I'm, not a college kid anymore. I'm older, I'm a grown man, I make a living and, provide for myself and my family and all that good stuff. And also, as a consequence of being, a little older, a lot of the players of my generation that I really enjoyed watching are either gone or, on the tail end of their careers. Shaq gone. AI gone. Kobe's on the back end of his career. Guys like Paul Pierce, Tim Duncan, all older guys that are, on the back 9. And I don't really like the new generation of players. I don't really like a whole lot of the new generation. There's a couple of guys who I like. I like Derrick Rose. I like Chris Paul, Kevin Durant. Those are a couple of my, favorite players out of the, younger crop of guys. But, as a whole, I think the league is very much watered down, very much a league full of, young players that aren't very skilled. They don't have much of a skill set other than, dunk or shoot a 3-point shot. You obviously have exceptions, of course, but I'm talking about generally. I think the league is very top-heavy and, watered down as a whole. You have these players who spend 1 year in college. They don't really learn how to play. They don't have a real feel for the game. And, as a result, you have what I feel translates into a product on the court that isn't that great. But by far, the biggest change and the biggest reason why I don't really follow the league as much as I used to anymore is the way the game is officiated now. You always have the old NBA standbys, the NBA extra step. You have your bailout calls, your selective enforcement of rules. If I was a coach of an NBA team, I would tell my star players to just foul every play because, you think anyone is going to foul out a guy like Kevin Durant out of a game? No. Carmelo Anthony think he's ever going to foul out of a game? No. So I tell my guys to just foul every play. You're not going to get called for it, so why play passive? But that is more of an aside and more of a add-on to the main reason, and that is the way the game is officiated, the way the rules have been gradually liberalized to basically make the premier wing and perimeter player pretty much unguardable. It's created the death of the inside-out game. It's now almost 100% perimeter-oriented because, perimeter players have no fear of going into the lane. You can't touch them. You can't bring down the hammer on them without getting fear of being called for a flagrant. It's basically the equivalent of the way that NFL wide receivers no longer fear going over the middle. Perimeter players now, they just dive right into the paint because they know they can't be touched. And they either throw up some slop at the rim going 100 miles an hour, and more often than not, they'll get bailed out with a call because they know that they can't be hammered. And that's the biggest change in the game. The death of the inside-out game and the, increased perimeter nature of the game. Big men now play further and further away from the basket, and you really can't compete anymore unless you have that wing scorer that can take advantage of the liberalized rules, get into the paint, and draw a bunch of fouls in crunch time. So that's my little take on the NBA. I just don't enjoy the NBA game as much as I used to. But be that as it may, I still want to get my basketball fix here and there, so I'll probably be playing more NBA 2K games as this guy quits, and post more vids, giving my thoughts about the league from time to time. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.